Supervising Deputy District Attorney with the Sacramento County District Attorney's Office. The order for this morning, we will have some remarks by our District Attorney, Tin Ho, followed by Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper, Sacramento Police Chief Kathy Lester, California Highway Patrol Chief Mike Dust, the President of the American Petroleum and Convenience Store Association, Bobby Singh Allen, the Director of the Government Affairs for the California Retail Association, Ryan Allen. Also joining us here today are Walmart representatives, McGregor Scott for Walmart, Todd Strain, Nathan Sprawlin, and Willie Guillermo for Arden Fair Mall, excuse me, Robert Height, the President and CEO of the Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, also with David Rotten, Jenna Abbott, and Jack Blattner from the Sacramento Chamber of Commerce. And with that, I'd like to present District Attorney Tin Ho.
Across the United States last year, there was $100 billion worth of retail theft that occurred. $100 billion. When you walk into a store and you find baby formula, diapers, deodorant, toothpaste, everyday essentials locked up, we have to talk about retail theft. When you see smash and grabs that are wiping out entire stores and businesses, we have to talk about retail theft. When you see pharmacies and grocery stores shut down in underserved and underrepresented communities, we need to talk about retail theft. When you see how theft is fueling our fentanyl crisis and our unhoused crisis, we need to talk about retail theft. But at the Sacramento County District Attorney's Office, we are done talking. 2 months ago, my office started the Organized Retail Theft Prosecution Unit, where we have a full-time investigator and a prosecutor who is assigned to prosecute those cases vertically, which means that they will handle the case from beginning to end, collaborating with our law enforcement partners in the investigation process, our business community, all the way through the prosecution and the conviction of the case. And in those 2 months, our Organized Retail Theft Prosecution team has already filed 35 cases. And one of the cases we found, because you see, retail theft doesn't just affect big businesses, but also the smaller businesses that form really the heartbeat and the soul and the backbone of our community. So recently, Zanzibar Furniture Store over on Broadway in Sacramento were the victims of a thief who stole nearly $100,000 worth of furniture from that store, wiping it out. And just yesterday, my office filed a warrant and filed criminal charges, and we are going to extradite that individual back to California to face prosecution. And the message to the thieves that are committing these crimes is that we are going to find you, we will hold you accountable to the fullest extent of the law. And so, with that, I would like to introduce Sacramento County Sheriff Jim Cooper.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I'm excited. This is good for Sacramento County. We've got to prosecute these folks. And what we have going on here, because of the laws in California, there is zero accountability. These folks know they're not going to go to jail, they're not going to get in trouble, and they go on and on and on. Law enforcement did a number of operations here in our region and arrested people, and most of them were cited because of the laws. And that's the big issue. They know they're not going to jail, and they're not stealing food. They're stealing items because they know there's zero accountability. And that's troubling. How do we change that narrative? And think about this, what DA Ho said. The new normal is going in and things are locked behind plexiglass. Basic, everyday stuff, deodorant, toothpaste, soap. That is not okay. We as Californians have to change that. And obviously this is gonna go a long ways to prosecute these folks and hold them accountable. We have to do that. It's not okay. In one of our operations, one individual talked about how he furnished his whole house from Home Depot. He was dead serious. Furnished his whole house because of thieving. He did not get in trouble. Who's paying for it? We are, the consumers, you and me, through prices being raised. This is the first start. A lot of legislation's in the Capitol right now coming through. Hopefully it gets passed, but I'm excited about it. And if you live in Sacramento County, you should be excited. I want to thank DA Ho for taking that step and assigning the prosecutor, because vertical from beginning to end, that makes a big difference. They're vested, they know the case in and out. So it's good times for Sacramento, and thank you all for being here.
I'd now like to invite up Sacramento Police Chief Kathy Lester.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. I couldn't agree more with the remarks by our DA and our sheriff. Whether we call it organized retail theft or organized retail crime, the effects that these perpetrators have on our community and our merchants is really hard to measure, and we are all impacted by these thefts. The damages from these crimes can put merchants and retailers out of business. They threaten the quality of life in our communities, especially communities that rely on local and small businesses in their neighborhoods. And in the end, again, we all bear the cost of these losses to our major retailers and small businesses. And these are not crimes of opportunity. These are not minor thefts that we talk about. They are organized, they are planned, and they have the potential for violence even. I know our department takes these crimes very seriously, and we're going to do everything within our power to thoroughly investigate them and hold them accountable with our partners that you see behind us. I'm going to share some examples of crimes that we've seen here in our city. And they're not unique to Sacramento. This happens in every city across our state. In October, Target Loss Prevention contacted our detectives because they had a suspect who they believed was stealing large quantities of baby formula and TVs from multiple Target stores in our area. And this had been occurring for over a year. Surveillance cameras had captured the suspect entering the stores, loading up shopping carts, and then leaving through fire exits without paying. Our detectives worked with Target Loss Prevention to build a case connecting these thefts with our jurisdiction. And based on our investigation, it's believed the suspect's responsible for over $80,000 worth of stolen merchandise from our local stores. The suspect was arrested and charged with multiple counts of grand theft and organized retail theft. And he's being charged with crimes that occurred not just in our city, but also Rancho Cordova, the city of Elk Grove, and Sacramento County. In November, our officers responded to Delta Shores regarding 2 individuals stealing merchandise from the Dick's Sporting Goods store. Officers arrived as the suspects were exiting the store with the stolen merchandise. During their investigation, they located $2,000 worth of stolen merchandise, prescription narcotics, over $4,000 in cash, and a firearm. The 2 suspects aren't from the city of Sacramento, but they came into our city to commit these thefts and these crimes. And they both have a lengthy history, including larceny and crimes of violence. Both suspects were arrested at the scene, and one was charged with grand theft, a felon in possession of a firearm, and a prohibited person in possession of ammunition. The second suspect was charged with grand theft and a felon in possession of a firearm. In December, we also partnered with Arden Fair Mall, one of our biggest retailers, to combat theft during the holidays. Together, with their help and help from our retail partners, we were able to stop 2 individuals who were actively stealing from one of our stores. The main suspect was seen inside with a magnet and a pry tool, removing security tags from items. When the suspect was contacted outside the business, she was in possession of over $2,400 worth of stolen merchandise. She was arrested and she was charged with possession of burglary tools and burglary, and her accomplice was charged on active warrants. These are not petty thefts. They are not crimes of opportunity. They're planned and coordinated criminal acts, which are often very serious felonies. Currently, our detective division is investigating several cases where suspects have been committing thefts throughout our region and the Bay Area. From what we know now, their crimes have cost retailers over $70,000, and these are losses in multiple jurisdictions. The prosecution for these cases will involve several agencies, and that's why this kind of regional, collaborative, coordinated law enforcement approach with our business community is crucial to investigating and prosecuting organized retail crimes. Cases like these are really complex, and as you can see, they span large geographic areas. They take time and they take resources to thoroughly investigate. I'm so proud of our department, our detectives, and our officers who do amazing work, and they work very hard at this. But it's through the cooperation and partnership that we build with our communities, the retailers, the merchants, and our law enforcement partners that give us the ability to really bring these individuals to justice. So I'm also pleased to announce that in order to combat these types of crimes, our department has opened a tip line for our partners to submit tips to our organized retail theft team. Leads generated from this tip line will be instrumental in the coordination and the investigation of these difficult cases. We believe that with the combination of this new tip line, the continued collaboration with our business community and retail partners, our regional law enforcement approach, and the district attorney's new ORT prosecution team, that this is greatly going to benefit our community by helping us to identify prolific offenders and hold them accountable for their actions. So I am very proud to stand here with our partners with this collaborative, and I want to thank our community, and I want to thank our law enforcement partners and our business community for their support in addressing this very critical issue. Thank you.
I'd next like to invite California Highway Patrol Chief Mike Dust.
Good morning, and thank you for being here today. I want to thank District Attorney Ho for inviting me to speak today and for his never wavering commitment to public safety. I also want to thank Chief Lester and Sheriff Cooper for their continued partnerships. And lastly, the retailers, for without their partnership, our job is always harder. Organized retail crime, as everybody knows, is a serious problem in California. State law recognized organized retail theft as an increasing concern in 2018 and required the CHP to coordinate with the Department of Justice and establish a regional property crimes task force. The organized retail crime task force teams have been in high demand and are sought out as a national resource by several of the organized retail crime associations and law enforcement agencies throughout the United States. In California, there are CHP teams in San Diego, Los Angeles, Fresno, the Bay Area, and here in Sacramento. The governor's budget invests $1.1 billion over 4 years to increase the safety and security of our communities. $373.5 million of that is allocated to combating organized retail theft. As part of the governor's Real Public Safety Plan, the California Highway Patrol will continue to partner with local law enforcement agencies in the crackdown on organized retail, auto, and railway thefts here in the Sacramento region and all throughout the state. Through our combined efforts, we report that in 2023, the CHP arrested more suspects, conducted more takedowns, and recovered more stolen items than ever before to combat organized retail crime. In this region, between September and December of 2023, the Valley Division team located here in Sacramento conducted 21 retail blitz operations throughout Sacramento, Placer, and San Joaquin counties, and has led to 116 arrests, more than 21,000 assets recovered at a value of more than $325,000. Statewide, since 2019, the CHP has conducted nearly 1,250 investigations that have led to the arrest of 2,100 suspects and the recovery of nearly 600,000 stolen retail items valued at more than $25 million. But all of these enforcement efforts are futile without prosecution. Here in Sacramento, the district attorney is committed to combating these crimes and working to make our communities safer. As stated earlier, as part of the governor's Real Public Safety Plan, the state has awarded over $267 million to 55 cities and counties throughout California to increase arrests and prosecution for organized retail crime. The CHP will continue to be an active partner in this region with the Sacramento Police Department, Sacramento Sheriff's Department, the retailers, and all the agencies in the region to help keep our communities safe. Thank you.
I'd now like to invite President of the American Petroleum and Convenience Store Association, Bobby Singh Allen.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bobby Singh Allen. I'm the president of the American Petroleum and Convenience Store Association. We have over 2,000 members statewide. I am also the proud mayor of the city of Elk Grove. Our members own and operate gas stations and convenience stores across California. More than 95% of our members are immigrants. They came to this great country for a better life for themselves and their families. They came to this great state of California for a chance at the American dream. But that American dream is becoming a nightmare. You can't put on the news without seeing graphic videos of looters smashing and grabbing products, assaulting clerks, and so much more. Thousands of dollars of products are stolen from each store on a monthly basis, and the violence escalates each and every day. Nothing changes. Enough is enough. These small business owners are responsible for job creation and tax revenue that lifts our economy. Every day it is becoming harder and harder to run a small business in our state. We need local and state leaders to protect law-abiding citizens and business owners. We need district attorneys holding criminals accountable. We applaud District Attorney Tien Ho for his commitment to public safety and protecting small businesses in Sacramento County. We hope that these efforts spread throughout the great state of California. We look forward to working with the District Attorney's Office and the newly formed Organized Retail Theft Unit. These partnerships among law enforcement create direct relationships with large and small retailers, which will streamline investigations and assist in successful prosecution of these cases. We also want to thank and recognize our great sheriff, Sheriff Jim Cooper. It's those partnerships that are critical of holding criminals accountable. Just one member was robbed over 250 times in one single year. 250 times. Enough is enough. Thank you all for being here.
I'd now like to invite the Director of Government Affairs for the California Retailers Association, Ryan Allen.
Hello, Ryan Elaine, California Retailers Association. I also sit on the board for the California Organized Retail Crimes Association, CalORCA, and last year I had the privilege of sitting on the steering committee with the Board of State Community Corrections to review these grants. We were very thankful for our District Attorney, Tien Ho, for applying and getting awarded this grant, and to our Sheriff, Jim Cooper, for also applying and being awarded with this grant. Just wanted to thank both of them and to the Governor Newsom's administration for prioritizing that in his budget last year. As was mentioned before, collaboration is key. Our retailers are committed to collaborating with law enforcement and district attorneys to help curb this problem. This is something that we see every single day. Something we always notice is we'll see the big retailers in the media that are often hit, and we like to say for every big retailer that's hit, there's usually a handful of smaller ones that are hit as well that often don't make the news. So just wanted to show our appreciation. We hope that this effort and this collaboration continues, and the California Retailers Association is always here to help. Thank you.
So just to give you an idea, one of the things that we're working on with our retailers and our business community and law enforcement is, we've gone to our retailers and asked them, do you have a top 10 list? A top 10 list of the thieves that are coming in again and again and hitting your store. And what we're doing then with our organized retail theft prosecutor is identifying those individuals and prosecuting those individuals and holding them accountable. In addition to that, last year, the Sacramento DA's office, we prosecuted and filed over 10,000 misdemeanor cases. 10,000 misdemeanor cases. And so the message is that we do prosecute these cases. But at the end of the day, we need the tools to be able to hold people accountable to the fullest extent of the law when it's appropriate. And I know that Sheriff Cooper talked about some of the legislation that is in the Capitol. Recently, Assemblymember Ramos has proposed a bill to increase the penalties for individuals who commit theft. And there's also an initiative out there that is seeking to really address homelessness, drug addiction, and theft reduction as well. And that initiative is trying to make the ballot as well. And these efforts, all of them combined together, are trying to give prosecutors, law enforcement, and the community the tools that we need to be able to really combat organized retail theft, and all the other public safety issues that we face. And with that, I will turn it over to you for any questions to ask of the group that is up here. Absolutely. So vertical prosecution is basically when a prosecutor is assigned from the very beginning and law enforcement contacts them through the process of reviewing search warrants, working with law enforcement to help identify the individual, then to file the case, to prosecute the case every step of the way, where they're talking to the victims, where they are determining how much restitution is involved, and that whole process. So you get one prosecutor who's assigned to prosecute these complex cases. Because a lot of times what you have is really situations where we may need further investigation to not only find the person that is stealing the item from the store, but then trying to give it to somebody else who will then resell it. You know, whether they're reselling it online or through other locations. And so that allows for cooperation and collaboration between all the parties. Next question. Yes, I'd like to introduce our prosecutor, Adrian.
Hi.
This is Adrian McMillan. She is the prosecutor that is assigned to the case, and we also have an investigator as well that is assigned. So these are the individuals that are assigned to this organized retail theft prosecution team, and you can talk to them afterwards as well. Well, we have in our office approximately 180 prosecutors. And so we have prosecutors in our misdemeanor units that are assigned to prosecute misdemeanor offenses. But what we have here in our organized retail theft prosecution is we're identifying those high-value cases, those repeat offenders, the organized syndicates that are working to commit these thefts again and again and again. And so we have a prosecutor assigned to prosecute just those cases. And then we have a whole team of prosecutors that handle felony cases and misdemeanors as well. But just remember this, we can't do our job without the help of our law enforcement partners that are here, from Sheriff Cooper to our CHP partners to Chief Lester and all the other agencies, whether it be in Elk Grove or Rancho Cordova. So that's really important part of this as well. And Sheriff Cooper, you know, they had an operation known as, what was that? The Bad Elf operation, and he can talk about that a little bit as well if you want.
Yeah, so Bad Alf, in a week, we hit about 12 locations, arrested 300 people, and 233 got citations because of the law. And as I said earlier, they weren't taking food, just items. Folks walking out with big screen TVs and not running out, walking out because they know the state of the law here in California. And that's really what's troubling. They don't care. A lot of repeat customers that asset management from the stores had recognized before. So it's just been a vicious cycle that's going on and on and on. And like I said, food may be understandable, but they know the lax laws that nothing will happen. So this goes a long ways in trying to correct that. So it's a great start.
Yes. Chief Dutch, would you like to address that?
The state actually becomes very small. And like you said, there are suspects that do the thefts in one location and then live elsewhere. And I'll give you an example. Recently, there was a case out of Los Angeles where $40,000 worth of Lululemon merchandise was taken. That suspect was linked to residents up in the Central Valley, and we were able to make that arrest. That's what's good about the statewide coordination, and that's what's good about the CHP being able to multiply those resources. We have monthly retail crime task force meetings hosted by our investigator in Sacramento County, and they bring in all the retailers, they bring in all the law enforcement agencies, prosecutors for not only Sacramento County but other counties, and information is shared. Different counties have different requirements for what they want to prosecute, and so it's good to get that information so that the investigators know specifically what they need to give to those prosecutors in all the different counties to make sure that we get the prosecution. So information is shared, it's coordinated like we have here today. Sacramento Police Department, Sacramento Sheriff's Department, CHP, wonderful partners here in this region, sharing information, working operations together. It's good. The criminals are actually ever changing, right? Even in auto theft now, you used to have to worry about breaking windows and hot wiring cars, and now they just intercept the information from your key fob. So law enforcement stays on top of all those trends and shares that information as it comes.
I'll just add to that because I think that demonstrates why it's so important to have communication, right? We have monthly meetings, we share information, whether it's on the tactics and the techniques around organized retail crimes or whether it's auto theft, gun violence. And we have a really unique partnership here in Sacramento County, I would say, that all of the regional chiefs, all of our law enforcement executives, we have a great working relationship. And so when we see something that seems weird or it's different or new, we're really good about sharing it because we want to make sure that our partners in the area know and we stay on top of those trends. It's what makes us successful.
I do want to note that, I talked about the prosecution side of it, the law enforcement side of it, but there's also the business community side of it. We're here in front of Walmart on 65th and Florin, and Walmart's been a great partner with us in terms of trying to fight retail theft. The same thing with Art and Fair Mall as well, and we can't do what we do without their help because they are getting hit with organized retail theft and theft. But I also want to say this, and I know that the Sacramento Metropolitan Chamber of Commerce, they represent a lot of the small businesses that are in community, and I mentioned earlier Xanabar. They were truly impacted by a theft at their store. But it's not just them. It's, other clothing stores. It's other businesses that are small in our community that form the backbone. And so when we're talking about retail theft, let's not forget about that and the impact on these stores that are oftentimes, small businesses, immigrant communities as well. From other countries. And so we need the tools as prosecutors. We need the tools in terms of the changes in the law in regards to the initiative as well. So we need the tools to be able to do this, but we're doing it together. Any other questions? Yes, and I'm going to bring, I know she wasn't expecting to speak, but Adrian, I'm going to give you the floor.
Sure. So the primary penal code section that I'm looking at is 490.4. It goes through a list of different things that you look at. So you can have 2 or more persons committing organized retail theft together over a period of time. You can have a person who's acting as an agent on behalf of a single person or a group of people going in to commit the organized retail theft crime, or you can have a person who's orchestrating it. So who is sort of the mastermind behind it, sending people in to commit this type of crime for the purpose of resale. So 490.4 is the primary one that I'm filing, as well as grand theft. There are some occasions where I'll be filing conspiracy to commit organized retail theft crime, or just there are some unique cases that require other penal codes. So it'll just be a learning process, but the purpose of having it from start to finish is being able to see the trends that are coming in, the same type of people coming in, seeing the same names coming in. So having it from start to finish allows me that opportunity to see what I want to file. Thanks.
I think one fact, 490.4 that was put in there, and it's a tough law. It's not an easy law. You think about conspiracy with that, and that's serious cases, murder cases. So it's troublesome sometimes that the legislature put that law in effect as kind of to pacify public safety and the public on that. So that's really a big issue. Ultimately, the voters voted for Prop 47. That's how it happened. And to change that, it has to go back to the voters. So legislature, a lot of great intent. They got a lot of laws this year, but ultimately, it needs to go back to the voters. And that's the bottom line, to have significant impact on it, to help us, law enforcement, help the DA's office. It's got to go back and have the voters change that, bottom line. Otherwise, it's a tough road to hoe, because on Prop 47, for legislation, you can lessen the impact of Prop 47, but you can't increase the convictions or seriousness of the crime on that. And that's the key issue on that we can't ignore.
Any other questions? Thank you for being here today. Thank you for being here today. Have a great day.